Welcome to the BTS Presents show.
I'm Brian Schulman, I'm the producer. We're currently doing segments on Santa Cruz County and Silicon Valley real estate behind the scenes. Thanks for watching.
Hi, I'm Candace Bradfield, broker and owner of Bradfield & Associates, and past president of our Santa Cruz County Association of Realtors. I want to thank you for joining BTS Presents.
Hi, I'm Datta Khalsa. Welcome back to the show. We appreciate you joining us. We have an interesting format we're going to try with this show. We always pride ourselves in bringing divergent views together, and I'm often surprised at these breakout sessions that happen in between our segments. I have Dan Coughlin, who's a co-founder of Santa Cruz Together. Currently, it's a grassroots campaign to stop the rent control measure from passing. And next to him is Sira Taylor, one of the more successful realtors in town, whose focus is, this would surprise you because Sira, being a housing professional, her focus is helping people find and buy properties. And Dan, not being really in any way affiliated with the housing industry, has become a self-taught expert on this matter in pretty short order in response to concerns that were raised when he heard about this measure. So Dan, how did you get involved in this?
So in 2017, the Movement for Housing Justice, which is the group that's promoting this ballot initiative, we're starting to get serious, and it was in the paper, and I knew that there was that they were going to promote this rent control initiative, and I studied economics in business school, and I knew that artificial price controls and undue regulation is tough. It makes it tougher to do business, and in this case, the business of providing housing. And but it was largely quiet, and the city was having community outreach groups with the Blueprint subcommittee, and but it wasn't until February when the city took the emergency vote that we'd spoken about earlier in anticipation of landlords increasing rent ahead of the ballot initiative or starting to evict tenants. The city took action, this emergency action, to cap rents increases and some level of just cause. And I was there, and as were a number of now executive members of the Santa Cruz Together now, and it was just quickly done, and so there was a instant reaction by those in the city that the city had done something this kind of quick, and so in the end it was beneficial because we got a kind of a head start on this. It really kind of set the city aflame, and I was over on the east side. I was starting to build up email distribution lists of people that were concerned about it. Lynn Renshaw was doing the same thing on the west side, and there's some other members of our campaign that were starting just to build awareness. Within 3 weeks, we were working arm in arm. A week after that, it was a formal campaign, and in parallel, we were doing case studies on where rent control has been enacted in other municipalities, mostly in California. And I'll say this: that the rental market is tough here. It really is tough. We acknowledge that it's hard. But if you're trying to create affordable housing, this is the exact opposite way of doing it. It will do the exact opposite of what they're trying to accomplish. And so we looked at these case studies in these different municipalities, and almost universally, housing the number of units go down and prices go up. And so the thing that scared me the most, I think, was just the town. Santa Cruz it's just got its own unique personality, and a large part of that is the relationships between landlords and tenants. I have yet really to meet anybody that's had a difficult relationship there. It's mostly very cordial and very friendly and professional and personal. And I think if you establish this rent control board that will be an adjudicator of disputes, and I think we'll start just tearing away at the fabric of our town. That's the thing that bothers me the most. I'm not committed to living here. I'm going to retire here. I'm going to be an old guy here, and I just don't want to lose that personality of this town.
So Sira, speaking as a local housing professional, a lot of this stuff, are you hearing it for the first time, or you've been hearing obviously certain things through the community. Do you have any questions specifically for Dan, who's obviously very involved in this campaign?
I don't have any questions specifically. I'd like to just to share with you my thoughts is that I have been listening and hearing through the community because I'm a local realtor and work with clients. A lot of first-time home buyers too that have been renting for many, many years. And what the conversation I have with my clients is that if you're planning to stay in the community and you're already paying a lot of rent, a 2-bedroom right now in Santa Cruz is renting for about $3,500, which is very, very high. Then why not get you in the market and get you into a home or a condo or a mobile, something, get your foot in the door instead of continuing to pay rent and paying somebody else's mortgage is kind of how I look at it. And I've been successful in helping a lot of first-time home buyers do that. So having said that, I think that the discussion is incredibly important that we're having it because the city council made that decision, and there are a lot of landlords out there, homeowners who are very concerned, and understandably so. I'm also a homeowner. At one point, my husband and I owned 4 properties locally, and we had rented, and we had the option at the time, obviously, to pick and choose who we rented to, and we had a lease, and we collected rents, and the tenants moved out. That was 10 years ago, and so it's a different situation now. And I do see that a lot of concerned local homeowners are putting their homes on the market because they are concerned about what's going to happen. So I really believe in democracy and that the voters should decide this. We live here, we pay taxes here, should be our decision if rent control comes or goes, not just a decision of the city council.
Right, agreed.
So that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, and let me be clear, the city council, they put in these ordinances and they're temporary. So they will expire in November regardless of the outcome of the ballot initiative. So and I think their heart, again, was in the right place. I think they were really trying to stem the tide of what might be bad behavior by landlords.
And by some landlords.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, there are bad landlords and there are bad tenants, but I think the threat of this ballot initiative would incentivize housing providers to, if they're going to be capped, most of our members, they come to us and they give us testimony about how they've kept rents low, as a favor. They're trying to make it more affordable. They love their tenants, and one of the aspects of this ballot initiative is that will be your base rent forever, and so there'll be just a CPI increase to that. And I ran some numbers before this panel. If let's say you're renting if you're a landlord, you're renting something for $1,500 a month, and you have to put a new roof on that piece of property, that's $15,000. It's going to take you 20 years to pay off that roof. If you just run it out with I think a 2.5% increase per year, and that's scary. I mean, the homeowner is taking a risk. They're putting out capital. The ballot measure talks about the landlord being able to make a fair and equitable return, but the base rent that had been set was low, artificially low. That's not accounted for. Now, the ballot measure allows you to appeal this to the Rent Control Board and try to make a case for being able to try to catch up, but that's a difficult process. We have a member in our group who owns apartments in Mountain View, and Mountain View had just got rent control passed in November of 2017. She's spent and she kept her rent super low, and she has spent now $30,000, and she's produced 5,000 pages of documentation as evidence to the Rent Control Board to try to be able to bump her base rent. And so that's kind of what it's again further disincentive for just a mom and pop landlord. They don't want to deal with that. They'll just sell.
Wow.
And they'll sell single family homes, and they'll sell it to somebody over the hill. Just like you said, 90% of your clients are coming from over the hill. There's a ready market. And so we're seeing it now. The houses are being sold.
Thanks for watching the BTS Presents show.
Khalsa, broker and owner of Main Street Realtors. Thanks for joining us.